We are live. As of right now, we're live. Live.
As opposed to not live.
As opposed to, well, let's see. Tonight on the Geek EZ, we are Alistair Short, no Badger. Alistair is
Badger
hunkering
might show
down.
up.
Badger might show up, but he'll probably show up late because we're going to do a short show anyway because there's not a lot to talk about. But what we will be talking about is no, Hurricane Florence is not the next Sharknado. Henry Cavill is still Superman as far as we know. And less movies. Was it Moonves? How do you say his name?
Neves or something like that.
Whatever. Either way, Moonves or whatever his name is. Yeah, he's a perv. But we'll be back after this, and then we'll keep going.
The following podcast is intended for mature audiences. The opinions expressed do not reflect this station or any affiliated partners. Listener discretion is advised.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Geek EZ.
We're back.
Yay.
What's really funny is my son watched the beginning of one of the shows. He's like, "Where'd you get the Thundercats thing? Did you just take that?" I was like, "No, I made all that." Then he's like, "You have a lightsaber." I was like, "Yes, I have a lightsaber."
Why is your shirt destroyed? Don't ask questions.
Don't ask questions. I was like, "It's that big energy bolt that hits him." They never really explain that, where the big energy bolt goes when Lion-O gets hit.
It doesn't really hit him. It goes to the sword.
Either way. No, actually, if you watch the animation, it surrounds his whole body.
It's because he's the Lord of the Thundercats.
Which I am not.
Well, you shouldn't have been in the way.
But, What? Okay, let's start off with the Henry Cavill thing. Cavill? Is it Cavill or Cavill?
I think it's Cavill.
Cavill? Like
Yes.
Cavill, Chekhov? Either way,
Yes.
there were reports, I don't know where the reports came from, I didn't see where the reports came from, that he was no longer playing Superman. And all of a sudden, blah, 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 he's not playing Superman, and the internet was all over it. And then he himself, Henry Cavill, whatever, posted, I think it was on Instagram, a picture of himself in a Krypton lifting team shirt saying that today was an exciting day, hashtag Superman. So that was kind of cryptic. But then I guess his representative, his agent, came out and said that they're still working and he's still part of it. And I think Warner Brothers kind of said they said it was a non-issue, blah blah blah. But so yeah, as of right now, he's still playing Superman, and then for the DC Universe movies.
Yeah, the net just jumped all over the. Oh, he's out. Hey, there's talk that Michael B. Jordan's going to be the new Superman. I hate to say it, but there's an awful lot of wish fulfillment there.
Really?
Yeah, I saw that. It's like they already claims. Oh yeah, he's going to be replaced with Michael B. Jordan.
Well, that's because that's Kal-El from like
Earth 1.
No, I think it's Earth 23.
Yeah, according to this is right here, comicbook.com. Superman, Michael B. Jordan, reportedly among actors being considered to replace him.
Yeah,
and I'm like, no. And they're still going on. DC Films just lost its Superman.
and it's the same thing with Batman. People still freak out. Is Ben Affleck playing Batman or not? Are they going to get him? Are they going to get what's his name? John? Is it John Hamm? Are they going to get his guy? Are they going to get that guy? Who are they going to get to play him? It's like, well, as far as we know, no one's made an official word to say Affleck's out. So we'll see what happens. Let's Aquaman.
Dead air.
What do you mean dead air? We've been talking this whole time.
Yeah.
We've literally been talking this whole time, man.
You can't hear us? The hurricane has gotten to Wolfie.
No.
Did I lose everyone?
I think so. We're talking. Talking. But Aquaman still has to come out.
Yeah, I kind of wonder what it'll be like. We have to just wait until pretty much the release of Aquaman and Wonder Woman and see how they do. Because I think that'll probably make the determination if they finally found their footing with the EU. And Wolfie's having all sorts of problems. And there he went. Let's see if he returns.
Yeah. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, will Wolfie return? Yeah, we don't know.
Oh, yeah. I'm not concerned about the DC. I mean, I don't understand why there aren't more people. I mean, you guys are. When it comes to being a fan of all geeky movies, whether it's DC, Marvel, Star Trek, Star Wars, I don't want any of them to fail. I don't want to see anything go bad. And I think I was laughing when I saw a meme the other day of posted on comic book or whatever it was that says, it was like from a cartoon, some dude opens a door to an open empty space. It's like, oh, I'm looking for, in this room we have all the bad Marvel Universe movies, and there's nothing in the room. And I was like, well, that's not really true. Have you seen Iron Man 3 or Thor, the second Thor, whichever, the Dark World?
The Dark World.
And let's not talk about the Hulk, because those are three kind of stinkers when it comes to the MCU.
Well, let's put it this way. Were they truly, quote-unquote, bad films? No. Were they good films? That one's debatable. I mean, it's going to be... your mileage may vary on those.
I look at
are they great films? No.
I look at a movie's rewatchability as something that lends credence to whether or not it was a good movie. And I cannot bring myself... There are 4 MCU movies that I can't rewatch. Doctor Strange is one of them. Doctor Strange does not hold up to repeat viewings at all.
I can rewatch Doctor Strange. I can't really rewatch Age of Ultron.
Yeah, Age of Ultron, Iron Man 3, Thor Dark World. I will actually watch the Hulk before I watch Dark World. And the original Ant-Man for me kind of lost its Guardians 2 is the same way. The rewatchability on Guardians 2 is kind of meh.
I could rewatch the first Guardians easily.
Yeah. But the second one is kind of meh. And when it comes to rewatchability in the DC movies, I can watch Wonder Woman until the cows come home. I just love that movie.
I don't own any of them, interestingly enough. I should probably get at least Wonder Woman.
I have watched Justice League since I've owned it on Blu-ray. I would think 5 or 6 times since I've owned it. And it's more the fact that I just really enjoy those characters. It's still not a great movie. It's not a bad movie in my eyes. It has flaws, but it's not a horrible film the way people make it out to be. Batman versus Superman is kind of, if I have the fast forward button, then it's fine. There are big giant holes in it, and I love Man of Steel. I really do. I don't know why. I really enjoy that movie.
I certainly enjoyed it. And again, I will keep quoting the old couple that was in the same theater with me that said it was better than the last Superman.
Yes.
Which is true.
Yeah. Now, Suicide Squad.
Skipped.
I think I've only watched it twice. I watched the theatrical and then I watched the extended cut. Now, it does have its moments. There are moments. Margot Robbie did an incredible job as Harley Quinn.
The problem with Suicide Squad for me is that you can tell where they just butchered that movie.
Mm-hmm. Yes, you can.
There was a much better movie, and then they handed it off to that stupid company that edits trailers, and you get bizarre jumps like all of a sudden, there's this attack, it's just weird.
It's got more bizarre jumps than Rogue One.
But you don't notice the jumps in Rogue One, really.
I did when I first saw it. It was jarring. It's the jumps, the editing jumps, as well as the audio or the soundtrack jumps, and that has more to do with the fact that Michael Giacchino only had 3 weeks to score that entire film.
My big problem with Rogue One is Princess Leia's skin is way too smooth. It looks like she's caked in makeup.
Did you see? You were the one who posted it, weren't you?
Yeah, but it's better, but it still has the same problem. You know, you're talking about an HD movie. The flaws in the skin are supposed to be there, and they're not.
I don't know. What was it? Fake? What do they call themselves? What is it?
Deep fake.
Deep fake. When Deep Fake did it, they just mapped Carrie Fisher's face onto it. So it's actually a photograph of Carrie Fisher.
Huh.
They did a really good job compared to, and it really did look much better than what was done. And Deep Fake does it with like over-the-counter software. But the biggest, I think, in Rogue One, the biggest jarring jump for me in the theaters, because the audio, not only there's like this, it's right as the first reveal of Tarkin. It goes from it just the music. There's an abrupt stop to the music, and then it picks up with their Imperial themey kind of stuff, and it's a very jarring cut when I first saw it. Like, whoa, what the heck was that? I've gotten used to it since then, and it's still one of my top 5 Star Wars films. But either way, Cavill's still Superman. It's all good.
At least until they finally come out and say otherwise. I mean, he is contracted for another film, so everybody just chill. It's just people doing clickbait, and boy, I don't even know what prompted it.
The problem with Cavill is I think you could end up with a Superman 4 type situation where instead of walking away from a contract or something, he takes the money and then just half-asses it.
The problem with Superman 4 was Christopher Reeve didn't half-ass that. Christopher Reeve wrote that movie.
That was his baby. Quite literally.
It was the fact that they pulled all the money out of it. They went so cheap on that film.
His performance in that is not great.
Well, he may have been kind of disheartened because of the fact that they basically hosed him. He really wanted it to be, a message, and it wasn't his directorial debut.
He didn't direct that, did he?
I thought he did. Maybe I'm wrong.
I know it was his baby, and there is so much wrong with that film. The Salkinds, Ilya and whatever his name is, there was so much wrong on the production side.
Well, that was a canon film at that point. So what do you expect?
Yeah, that's true. I don't know.
The director of Superman 4 was Sidney Furie.
Wasn't Canon responsible for like RoboCop?
No.
I don't remember who was behind the production of RoboCop. Canon was behind a lot of stuff, though.
Yeah. But, I mean, they all got stinkers. I mean, we got Batman and Robin. I'm not going to put Batman Forever in that category because Batman Forever, hidden within that film, is a really good Batman movie.
It's just really well hidden.
It's hidden pretty good. There is a fan edit of that film that cut about 25-30 minutes out of it and made it work so much better that they darkened it. They color corrected it so it wasn't so blasted Joel Schumacher neon. And it's a much better movie.
Actually, we had this conversation at work yesterday. We're trying to talk. I don't even remember what exactly brought it up, but we were talking about the Star Wars films and that. One of my coworkers was saying like, the original films are great films, and I go, no, they weren't. It's like, this is coming from a die-hard Star Wars fan, man. They weren't great films. None of them are quote-unquote great films. And that
Empire is great.
No, I'm not going to give them the qualifier of great. Are they good? Yes. Every single one of them, and I'm including Attack of the Clones, or the Clone Wars, whatever, is in the good category. There's different reasons for each one being good. Are they great films? No. Now, if you want to rate them, obviously, with each other, by all means, that's fair. Empire can arguably be debated to be the best of the Star Wars films, but are they great films? Are they masterpieces? And I'll say no. And they asked me, it's like, well, okay, what do you qualify as a masterpiece? Or as a great film? It's like, okay, if we're just comparing series to series, it's got to be a series of films, I would actually rate the Lord of the Rings films as being great films. Now, we can nitpick all films to death. That's a given. I think we've covered that in the show before. But in terms of what I would say that makes it a great film, it is the storytelling, the pacing, the filmography, the actual craft of it is what rates it into a great category or masterpiece. And while, again, there's parts of Lord of the Rings that we don't like, you've mentioned the walking a few times, Adam.
Oh, so much walking.
So much walking. But overall, from start to finish, those films, I mean, even John Rhys Davies says the same thing. These are masterpieces. And that was while he was making it. He's like, we're making a masterpiece here. So,
I will agree. Crafting-wise, the Lord of the Rings are probably some of the best crafted films ever put on celluloid. Ever.
Now, yeah, so if we're just, and that's all I'm looking at. I'm not trying to say, comparing, actual comparison, just in those terms, Lord of the Rings are definitely fall under the category of great films to masterpieces overall. Are there weak points within them? Oh yeah, totally. If we look at the Star Wars films, there's definitely some issues with pacing and storytelling and whatnot, just even in the original films, because Lucas didn't have everything figured out yet.
Yep. Yeah, there are not. Now it's funny. There are movies that people say are masterpieces that I literally have to force myself to watch. The Lord of the Rings are some of them. I will say they are gorgeous movies. They really are beautifully made films, but there's a lot of boring stuff going on. It's boring. The pacing sometimes just slows to a crawl, even though they're walking.
For which one again?
The Lord of the Rings films. That is a long time to sit and watch people just walk and talk. Because it's broken up with the actions, but the action stuff, I don't think is enough of it. And that's nothing against Jackson and the script writers. That's what they were working with. They were working with the books, and there is a lot of exposition in those books.
Oh yeah,
a lot of talking in those books.
A lot of walking in those books.
So it's not that they could have done it any differently, because he was trying to adhere to what Tolkien had written, and even then left a lot of stuff out because it just couldn't translate to film to keep a movie moving forward. Whereas in a book, you can't get away with it.
And especially when you're looking at it from the viewpoint of being a faithful adaptation, that's another thing that rates in my categories here of Lord of the Rings being a masterpiece. It is probably the most faithful to a literary source that I can think of off the top of my head.
The original Harry Potter film, the first one.
To be fair, that book wasn't very, very thick. So that helps.
But they adhered very, very well to it.
True. I'll give you that one.
Of all of the Harry Potter films, that was the closest that adhered to the original story.
To be fair, also that was a very tight story. It was basically start finish. Sure. That was it.
Now, I mean, if you're gonna go, it's like, yeah, you said it's like, what is a great movie? I would consider Braveheart a great movie.
Yeah, I would also rate Braveheart as being a great movie. Now, if you want to try to compare it to historical accuracy, no, it is so blown away.
Well, they
wrong.
said they even said so right in the beginning. I mean, there's an actual disclaimer that they took artistic license to keep to up the drama aspect of it. Actually, every version of that film, whether it's animated or live action, because I mean, let's see, DeMille made two of them. What Braveheart, right? I'm thinking Ten Commandments in my head because I'm already 2 steps ahead of myself. The Ten Commandments, because I was going to say the original Ten Commandments, Cecil B. DeMille's 1950s Ten Commandments is a great movie.
I've never watched that one.
It is a great movie, and they do have a disclaimer in the beginning that says that it is they took artistic license, as well as Spielberg and DreamWorks when they did the animated version, which was called The Prince of Egypt, also said they took an artistic license, but the heart of the story is still there. And again, I would consider The Prince of Egypt as an animated film a great movie.
See, I guess if we were to just, let's say, our most likely 5, just narrow down to 5 great films. And you can include a series. Just, if you want to do Lord of the Rings, for example, I would put that as one of mine. Not the Hobbits. I like the Hobbits, but I don't own them.
I think a really underrated great film, because most people think of it as a genre film and overlook it, is Wrath of Khan.
In a basic submarine warfare type, yeah, it actually is. It's right up there.
Overall, I would not disagree with it. I mean, it's got good pacing. The storytelling was good. And
but I mean, now
the filmography was actually pretty solid, especially for its time. And they did it all under, they actually saved money, as I recall.
Nobody's going to say it ranks up there with some of the other ones that you guys are mentioning, but I think if you're going to show a Star Trek movie to somebody, that is generally the one I would pick.
Now, are we allowed to go all genres?
I don't see why not. I mean, it's what you personally feel are if not top 5, definitely 5 great films that you feel.
Because I have 2 animateds in my top 5.
Yeah, I don't see any reason why you can't include them.
Prince of Egypt would be one of them. Sleeping Beauty, Disney's Sleeping Beauty.
Wait, live action. Didn't they do a live action of that?
Not yet. Sleeping Beauty, they haven't.
No, I'll give it time.
But the animated version is a masterpiece. It is such a well-made movie.
Toy Story 3.
Get out.
No, man, that he's right. Toy Story 3 is it is not great, but it is a really good movie.
It should have probably been nominated and won for Best Picture that year.
It was well put together. Unlike, say, Incredibles 2, but
let's just stick with Adam and get his 5. So there's
I've got
Prince of Egypt.
Prince of Egypt. Both the Prince of Egypt and the Ten Commandments are in my top 5. Sleeping Beauty, that makes 3. In my top 5, that is really difficult.
Or at least that you consider great, and it doesn't have to be your exact top 5. You just consider it great.
See, I don't know if I put Braveheart in my top 5, but it's definitely in my top 10. Unfortunately, even though I really have a hard time watching it just because the movie itself, I find the story is boring, but visually, the movie is insane. It's Citizen Kane. It really is. I mean, it sounds so cliche, but the movie is so groundbreaking. I don't think people realize, because of Citizen Kane, what happened to motion pictures afterwards.
It's kind of like Star Wars and what came afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, he was doing things. Orson Welles was doing things in that movie that no one had ever done before, and it was so well done. It just visually so well done, and that's what films are. They are a visual art form. So I'm up to 4. That's really sad. I can't think of a 5th that I would drop right in there. Probably Blade Runner.
I couldn't get behind Blade Runner, so I can't rate that one as a great personally. Visually, oh yeah, there's really great visuals to it, but the rest of it, falls short for me.
Okay, your top 5, Tank.
Well, Wolfie seemed like he already had a start. So
you got him. Let's go, Wolfie.
I mean, they're in no particular order. For me, I think Toy Story 3 is up there. Like, that movie really moved me. See, I'm not as much of like a cinema buff in certain ways. So like Casablanca's up there for me.
Yep.
Honestly though, the sci-fi movie I would put in my top 5 is probably Forbidden Planet.
Oh my God, yes. Well, it's definitely in my top 10.
Honestly, without Forbidden Planet, I don't think sci-fi would exist the way it does today. The acting, the storytelling, and the effects and sets and everything in the movie are amazing. God, I'm trying to think. Like, there's a lot of movies that would come close, but I don't know. Like, I've never really sat and thought about it. If you got yours, you can kind of ready, Tank. Go ahead.
Actually, I'm going to change my 5th answer because Blade Runner falls in my top 10. The Godfather Part 2 would rank in my top 5.
I have that, and I still haven't watched it yet because
The second one I find is a much better movie than the first one.
Oh my God! If you can find the cut where it's actually done chronologically, the first 2 movies mixed, it is amazing.
Yes.
It's a TV cut from like the late 80s or something.
It actually runs better than the 2 films separately. What do they call it? The Godfather Chronicles?
Something like that, because you don't have the weird time jumps and everything plays together much better.
And it really is probably the best you'll ever see. De Niro, Pacino,
Brando.
what's his name? Brando. Even the side. What's his name? James Caan.
Robert
everybody.
Duvall.
They're at the top of their game in those movies.
my 5th one keeps shifting on me. So, just out of these, the 5 that I'm going to throw out here, I would say Ben-Hur.
Yes.
Schindler's List.
Oh, I forgot about that one.
Yeah, that's a tough one to forget about.
That is a tough one to forget about. That's definitely in the top 10.
I think there's a reason you forgot about it.
Why?
As great as that movie is, it is so painful to watch.
Yeah.
It's not as it's not as painful as what the next one is that I'm going to list here. Black Hawk Down.
I don't find Black Hawk Down nearly as painful as
Schindler's List is painful.
I'm not saying it isn't, but in my particular case, I find it painful because it could have been my brother. By the grace of God, in a couple of years, it could have been him.
Yeah, Wolfie and I have a different side of that, though.
I'm not knocking it by any means. I'm just saying when I can watch Schindler's List, and yes, it is a very emotional and potent film, as well as it should be. But what will bring me to tears actually is Black Hawk Down. Anyway,
keep going.
Next, Lord of the Rings. I think we already have a pretty good idea what my thoughts were on that. And this one is where I keep shifting back and forth. I go either between Gettysburg or Glory.
Oh, Glory.
And it's like both of them are good. Gettysburg definitely carries on well just because it's 3 hours. But I don't find that as a detriment. It works for what it is. Man, Glory is so good.
Glory is so good. Denzel was so good in that movie.
So, those are the 5 that I'm throwing out as what I would consider definitely, quote unquote, great films for sure.
Now, there have been a lot of dramas and other films that have come out recently, like 12 Years a Slave. I have not seen yet, even though everybody has told me I need to see this movie.
I've had a hard time bringing myself to watch that one.
It's something that's on my list of I have to watch it. I could throw so many out there that I know are controversial to a point. I would put in my top 10 best of great movies, visually, story, and all that kind of stuff, The Passion of the Christ would be in my top 10 because
That was just hard to watch in general.
it is such a
Visceral
visceral film, and potent film, and it just whoa. But and Saving Private Ryan would definitely be up there in the top 10 as well.
Yeah.
A lot of Spielberg.
Yeah. I mean, I was thinking that over, like, if we were going to go to a top 10, Spielberg would be covering a lot of that.
Yes.
Like, War Horse was great. Saving Private Ryan was great.
A weird one for me in my top 10, because I've only managed to ever sit down and watch it end to end once, is Das Boot.
I've never actually seen all of that.
Das Boot's a good movie.
Das Boot is good, but it's long, and it's another one that can be really hard to watch.
Train Spotting would be in my top 10 too.
Oh, Lincoln was a good one too by Spielberg.
Lincoln wasn't bad. I don't know if I'd call it a great movie, but Lincoln was good. I own it. But I like historical drama.
Yeah, I mean, just overall, I thought that he's fantastic with the craft anyway.
That's funny. None of us mentioned a Hitchcock movie.
I honestly haven't seen a lot of Hitchcock stuff. Like,
yeah, I'm in the
it's
same
not
boat.
that I'm intentionally avoiding it. It's just not something I've encountered a lot of.
Yeah, I'm going off of things that I've watched, and I haven't watched Hitchcock films. I'm sure that if you were to actually rate them without having watched them, there'd probably be a Hitchcock film in there, but I'm not the type to.
No, see,
that.
I mean, I am, of the three of us, I would say I am the bigger cinephile than you guys. I have seen a lot of old movies.
I like a lot of old movies, but it's like I said, Casablanca is definitely on my list. And
Casablanca is definitely a good one.
I mean, I think a lot of people my age have never watched Casablanca. Sadly, I think they're more likely to have seen the Pamela Anderson remake.
Pamela Anderson made a remake of Casablanca?
Barbed Wire is a Casablanca remake.
Oh, geez.
Oh my god.
Moving
Did not
along.
realize. But yeah, it's
You know what's also interesting, though?
Hmm?
Out of our top fives, or at least the five that we picked, none of us picked Star Wars, none of us picked Indiana Jones.
Nope. Because while those are fun, I would not put them. I mean, maybe Raiders.
Yeah, but there's a
But even
huge
then-
problem with Raiders in that you don't need Indy.
True. Everything would have happened the same way. I mean, had he not been there, all the Nazis still would have died.
I think my fifth movie would have, and this is a weird one because a lot of people consider it good but not great, would be Children of Men. But that's another one that can be hard to rewatch past a certain point.
I've never seen Children of Men.
Oh, it's really good.
Also noticed not one Kubrick film.
I was going to throw The Shining in there because it is a technologically and cinematically perfect film. It really is. I mean, his Kubrick's direction and adhering to symmetry in that film is disturbing at times. But there's, I mean, I think I mean, I don't know. I have not met a lot of cinephiles at my age. A lot of them are older than me. That when I can't talk to people about like Marx Brothers movies or some of the old black and white comedies or black and white dramas and stuff because no one's seen them.
I need to sit down and watch the Marx Brothers stuff. I grew up on watching Three Stooges with my dad, and I've had plenty of people tell me, oh, Marx Brothers are like the Three Stooges, only 10 times smarter.
Yes. The Marx Brothers, while there is some visual gags and there is some visual humor, it is mostly double entendre and a lot of wordplay.
Yeah, and I was sitting here actually thinking, it's like, could I actually include like any Mel Brooks in my five choices? And
Blazing Saddles.
that one came to mind. I was like,
Of
See,
all of his movies, that is the best.
My problem
Sure.
is like calling anything a top 5 or giving them a ranking is hard for me. Like I know 2001 is up there for me, but there's still a lot of movies I would put ahead of it at the same time.
2001 is boring.
Yeah. I have no desire to even watch it.
Honestly, to me, like I like 2001. I'm not a fan of some of the movies that ape 2001, like the Star Trek the motion picture with the long tracking shots of the ships. But 2001, the way it flows together better. In motion picture, those shots break up the movie. In 2001, they're just part of it.
Well, you mean the beauty shots of the Enterprise?
Yeah.
Oh, I enjoyed the hell out of those.
In Star Trek, though, those were look what we can do.
Yeah, if you take those separately, those shots, the Enterprise are
They're
great.
gorgeous.
But in the movie, oh my God, they grind things to a screeching halt.
Yeah, that scene, the scene where Kirk first comes up on the Enterprise, while in itself is a beautiful scene, slows that movie to almost to a complete stop.
They do beauty shots much better later in some of the other movies, much faster and without killing the pace of the movie.
Well, I think if we were to put that one in context anyway, it makes sense for them to have done the long beauty shot because what they had before, the old 60s Enterprise, had a lot of love attached to it, and here they're showing, at least in the TMP, they're showing the same kind of love that the fans had been showing for the ship, and they wanted to show. See, Kirk is like you. He loves this ship, and this is what we've done. It's a loving recreation and enhancement of your ship.
Oh yeah, and
I get it. I mean, I'm totally done with it. But you're right. From a pacing perspective, it does kind of kill the film.
I don't know. The more I think about it, I think Star Wars would have to be at least close to my top 10 just because of the revolution it represents for the science fiction genre. I mean, Logan's Run is only a year older than Star Wars, and Logan's Run looks like it's out of the 60s.
But Logan's Run, without Logan's Run, Star Wars would probably not have gotten what it got. Logan's Run, while it is a dated film, and if you watch it now,
I like Logan's Run.
I really do enjoy Logan's Run, but Logan's Run set the stage to get. It was the primer. It was kind of like Forbidden Planet was the primer for Star Trek, and for a lot of sci-fi that followed it. Logan's Run, because sci-fi wasn't being done back then. The late 70s and the mid 70s were all disaster films, and basically it was Hollywood aping the world around them because the late 70s was just a crappy time to live, and all of the films were geared towards that. It was always destruction and the big earthquake and airport and all of those films. And then along came Logan's Run out of the blue, which was like, oh, look, it's a future movie. It's a sci-fi movie.
No,
there weren't many.
Soylent Green, Westworld, and Silent Running were all before Logan's Run.
Yeah, but they had a different feel.
No, but Logan's Run feels so dated compared to what comes after it. Like Silent Running does not date. Silent Running feels like it's a much more recent movie than Logan's Run does, and it's 4 years older.
True.
There's different production values to be sure.
Yeah.
I mean,
it's arguable. But I'm pretty sure that if you go back and listen to other sci-fi people talk about it and film people, that Logan's Run really it set the ground and opened the door for Star Wars to become the monster that it did.
Well, again, we're just looking, by storytelling, by pacing, by the actual craft involved, by at least those three categories, I'd say, or criteria. That's how we're kind of determining our top fives. And granted, Star Wars does come, in my book, comes pretty close. But if we be honest, let's be fair. The stories of Star Wars
wasn't pretty basic.
Greatest. Yeah, there's not much to them. They're good. They're enjoyable. There's no question about that. I mean, here we are still talking about it. How many years later?
Well, it's modern mythology.
Space opera.
I mean, it is the best of the mythological hero stories set in a futuristic time period, even though it's a long time ago.
It's all the trappings involved.
Yeah, I mean, he adhered so well to that book.
By the way, for those who are listening in, by all means, tell us what your fives would be.
Yes,
Firefly, we're waiting on you. Sorry to interrupt and
E.T.
throw
would
you off
be
your
up
train.
there too. E.T. is a really well-made film.
Yeah, although the recent adjustments to it where they remove the shotguns with walkie-talkies was weird.
Spielberg apologized and put them back in for the Blu-ray.
Oh, that's good. Because that was kind of...
I have the Blu-ray, and I was quite amazed. I was like, oh, the shotguns are back.
Because it makes sense. They would
Yes,
have
they
those.
would have shotguns.
They don't know what that alien's going to do.
Ooh, aliens. Not alien, aliens. Cameron's, not Scott's.
I honestly did think about including Titanic.
Nope.
From a film,
I've
from a craft standpoint,
never
it's
watched it, and I never will.
The boat sinks. Spoiler alert.
great. Oh, you ruined it.
Terminator
see?
2.
With the hurricane coming, did you see the meme or the thing that's out there floating around on Facebook that says, for those of you in the path of hurricane, it's been around for a while, I think it was. It says, those of you in the path of Hurricane Florence, if flooding does occur, remember that a door can be used as a flotation device. A door holds two people. Rose.
Yeah, I think I saw that, yes. There's been a lot of amusing memes in regards to that.
Yes.
Like, there's groups that have been created on Facebook. Like, you do the hokey pokey and turn Florence around.
And no, there are no sharks in the hurricane.
Hurricane!
See, I haven't been on social media all day, really, and I pop on, and I'm guessing Rush Limbaugh posted something or was forwarding things that said that sharks are being sucked into Hurricane Florence. And I'm like, what?
I saw that meme on Facebook earlier today, but I didn't know that.
I was like, I had to go find where it started. I guess it was Rush. He's almost as bad as Alec Jones. Or Alex
Yeah.
Jones.
And he's been at it much longer.
Yes. I'm wondering if he tongue-in-cheeked that and it just got blown out of proportion.
I don't know.
The problem is given his reputation, it's probably not smart for him to joke like that.
No,
unless
it's
he makes
not.
it obvious.
Yeah. Whereas, I mean, Jones is just loud and boisterous and obnoxious. Rush has a sense of humor. And unless...
made obvious by his appearances on Family Guy.
Yes. I mean, really, when you think about the aspect of Seth MacFarlane bringing Rush Limbaugh onto the show more than once.
I'm surprised they're even willing to talk to each other.
Exactly. Which means that there's common ground they obviously found. There's a humor about it, and Rush does have a sense of humor and knows that. And I really hope it was tongue-in-cheek if he did perpetuate this thing about the sharks. I mean, I was like, what? Sharks are getting sucked in? That would be hilarious, because you're sitting there, sharks flying by your window. It's like Sharknado, but...
I just thought of an interesting case for my best movies, because really I can only count the first part of this movie as being
You're going with
great.
Full Metal Jacket.
Are you reading my mind?
I was going to do the same thing, dude.
Because it's Full Metal Jacket, man.
It's
Everybody knows.
Yes, Full Metal Jacket.
I think most people don't even
one-
realize that there's actually a part of that movie where they end up in Vietnam.
Because the second half of it is just
kind of
bleh.
Yeah.
The first half is so amazing, and then the second half gets weird. Like the one guy gets shot and squirts blood, like 20 feet in the air?
Well, that part of that really bothers me. It is so obvious that they're not in Vietnam, and that's what gets me.
They're in England.
It's like, where are you supposed to be again? Well, this is somewhere in Vietnam. I was like, I've seen photographs. I had family members in Vietnam, and that is not what Vietnam looked like.
Here's a lot more jungle.
There's always the greatest Christmas movie of all time.
Christmas Story.
Die Hard.
Die Hard.
Not a great movie. It's a good movie, but it's not a great movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't rate it as great either.
Speaking of that, he's doing another one.
Apparently so.
God, why?
They're doing young and old McClane at the same time, and it's being called McClane.
Are there any movies that you would classify primarily as an action movie that would make the list? Because I'm trying to think, and I'm not coming up with anything off the top of my head.
Well, probably
Glory is like the closest.
Well, Glory or
But
Black Hawk Down.
Glory and Saving Private Ryan aren't really action movies; they're war movies.
True.
Same with Black Hawk Down.
I mean, Black Hawk Down has a lot of action, but it's this historical. Calling it history is funny because it's so close, but it is a historical movie at this point.
Terminator 2 might come close.
Yeah, I think Terminator 2 probably comes the closest, but I mean, even then, it's still it's sci-fi action. It's not pure action.
Yeah, I could grant that.
I think the closest actually would have, and even then, it's still technically sci-fi. Should be Fury Road, Mad Max Fury Road.
Dude, that is why that
is such an amazing movie.
They literally drive, then turn around and go back to where they started. It is, let's drive to the middle of the desert and then turn around and go back to where we started.
That movie is not about the plot. It's about the visuals and the tension and everything.
Yeah, and the story is kind of blah.
I mean, visuals without plot kind of gets lost. I mean, then it goes out of the aspects of a action film or whatever into more of just an experimental or an art film.
And they also destroy the environment. That's actually not just being flippant. They actually did destroy the environment.
Well, yes, I know in real life they did lots of damage to stuff. I just, to me, that movie is stunning in many ways.
Visually, I'm not going to disagree. It is.
No, I won't disagree visually. It really is.
Well, I think there's a tension in that movie. I mean, the tension of the chase and everything, even if the plot supporting it and the fact that they turn around makes little sense, you don't notice it when you're sitting there watching it.
Oh, I noticed it. Believe me, I noticed it.
Well, you're one of like 5 people that did.
They got there, and I'm like, and now we got to turn around and go back. I was like, what the hell just happened? So the first half of that film made no sense and was really completely unnecessary. When you get to that point in the film, and when you tell me that, because that's what they told me, was we drove all the way out here, we got to where we are, and now we got to turn around and go back. And I was like, yeah, and you lost me. That was my take on it, because I mean, I didn't even see it in the theaters. I saw it on Blu-ray, and I was just like, oh, I am so glad I did not pay for this.
I mean, it was enjoyable. I mean, we don't even have John Wick on here, and John Wick was a good film.
Yes.
Also, I noticed not a single superhero film. At least not on the 5.
No, not even my top 10. They're enjoyable. They're good films, but they are not what I would consider great movie making. Now, if we're going for now, you know what, Wolfie, you're right. Great movie making, visual art form. Mad Max would have to be in there. Fury Road.
Sure, but again, there's the 3 criteria. That's what changes it up.
The 3 criteria where it gets lost in the plot aspect of it. Visually, the composition of the film is stunning. It is a gorgeous film to watch. Plot-wise, threadbare.
It was just an excuse to drive really loud vehicles.
Yes. And have some dude with a flamethrower on his guitar.
Which, let's face it, that was kind of cool.
That was really cool. That and the dudes on the spiky or the things back and forth. That was pretty sweet. I will not deny that. It was one of those. It was like, oh wow, check this out. Oh, check this out.
We live, we die, we live again.
Well, now I have an interesting one for you that some people credit with the main existence of the buddy cop movie, even though it's not necessarily the first one. But 48 Hours is considered by some people to be just this absolutely amazing movie.
It's been so long since I've seen 48 Hours.
Can't even think of it.
It's Eddie Murphy and Nick Nolte.
I don't think I've actually ever watched it.
I'm not saying I consider it this absolutely amazing movie because, again, it's one like Adam. I haven't seen it in a long time, but some people, the way they talk about that movie is like it's the greatest thing since sliced bread.
Yeah, I also noticed we didn't have a single comedy, even though I really did try. I did think of it. I was thought the Blazing Saddles. Comedies, though, are a tough one to bring in just because there really doesn't need to be a story. That's kind of the point.
Yeah.
I think it's hard to have a pure comedy on there.
I don't know. Blazing Saddles is pure comedy. And it's Brooks's best work, followed very closely by the 12 Chairs. Which you guys are like, ooh.
I would have thought you would have included either. I can't think of the one that the black and white one he did.
Silent movie?
No, it wasn't a silent movie. It was with
Young Frankenstein.
Yes, there it is. Thank you, Young Frankenstein.
Young Frankenstein.
Or crap, my names are just gone.
The Producers?
Yes, thank you. That was there a minute ago.
The Producers is good, but I don't think it's as funny as Blazing Saddles.
As well.
Well, the thing about Blazing Saddles is, it's designed to be thought provoking.
It's very cutting, especially considering who was part of the writers.
Yeah, and the fact that whereas Brooks has never been one to pull punches and to make you actually think, when Blazing Saddles is offensive just about everybody, and he takes it and runs with it.
It's very unapologetic.
Yeah, I think extremely unapologetic.
I think a lot of comedies just don't check all three boxes.
No.
Because Holy Grail is amazing, but I mean, it's not shot well, really, or anything.
No, I mean, granted, they did it on a low budget, but yeah, I would agree that they'll hit at least two boxes.
It's like Excalibur only hits two boxes.
I mean, you've got some people that would probably throw some of the Woody Allen stuff in there, like Annie Hall.
Nah, not a chance. None of Woody Allen stuff. Not for me, anyway.
He's such a Neebish.
I mean, I really like Dr. Strangelove, but again, I don't know that it would even crack my top 10.
Yeah, that was another one I was thinking about. It's like of Kubrick's films, I did enjoy Strangelove, but out of all of them, the first half of Full Metal Jacket.
I mean, there's always Some Like It Hot.
The original with Jack Lemmon?
What?
The original one with Marilyn Monroe?
Yeah.
They remade it. I know somebody remade it. Or they made a remake of the same story, but it wasn't called Something Like It Hot.
404 error. File not found.
That was Jack Lemmon and Curtis, right?
I think so.
Jack Lemmon, Tony Curtis, and Marilyn Monroe.
Yeah, it is.
Now, you know what? No, if you're going to go back now, I will say, Wolfie, you definitely have to go back and watch the Marx Brothers. If you've never seen one, I would start with Animal Crackers and work your way around. Because Animal Crackers is probably their best outing ever in the films. It is probably the funniest. Now, I received for my birthday because they did. There's two box sets out there of DVDs because they worked for two separate studios. They worked for Paramount, and then I think they worked for MGM, and both put out, or Warner Brothers, one of the two. They put out two different box sets. So far, Paramount's the only one that put out a Blu-ray set, which they're completely restored.
My cousin really has a thing for Duck Soup.
Duck Soup is a good one. Duck Soup is probably one of their shorter ones. It is funny, but Animal Crackers, they are on their best.
The problem is when you get too far back, because the nature of filmography in general has progressed so far, it makes it harder to judge them in the list of greats, just because in a lot of cases they were the cutting edge at the time. When you look at some of the Laurel and Hardy stuff or any of Buster Keaton's stuff, I mean, hell, a lot of the stuff that Keaton was doing was dangerous as hell and could have killed him.
Yep, many times.
Now, I think a movie that it doesn't even come close to checking all three boxes, but is a hell of an achievement, especially for the type of comedy it is, but also the rewatchability isn't great, is Borat.
Never watched it.
The first time you watch it, especially if you go in with an open mind,
you pee yourself.
It's hilarious, and the fact that he pulls it off is amazing. But yeah, the rewatchability isn't great because you know what's coming.
Yeah. The first time, woof.
Oh my god, I died laughing the first time I saw that.
Anything Fritz Lang did, any of his silent films, whether it's
like Metropolis?
Metropolis is, I can watch that movie over and over and over and over again. And
now, what do you think of Charlie Chaplin stuff, like Modern Times and everything?
The Dictator was probably my favorite of all of his.
Have you seen The Mouse Who Roared?
Yes.
My grandmother, I think that's her favorite movie of all time.
I can think of a comedy that would fit all of it. It's a mad, 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 mad world.
Never seen it.
I think it checks all three boxes.
Is that the one with Phil Silver?
Yes, Phil Silver, Spencer Tracy, Buddy Hackett. Let's see who else is in that movie. God, there's so many people in that film. So many people, so many cameos, so many just people just pop up in that movie. Everybody was in that movie back in the, and it is a well done story. It has some really good cinematography, and it's funny as hell.
Oh my god, we're forgetting a major one whose star just died. Smokey and the Bandit.
Cannonball Run was better.
I enjoyed Cannonball Run a lot. I'm not as keen on Smokey and the Bandit.
Oh man, that's one, like, I don't care if there's 5 minutes left in it, I can't turn it off every time I come across it.
If you're gonna go with Burt Reynolds movies, Deliverance is in the top 10.
So I think, and maybe we can say this for another day, but maybe what we can do is like fascinating films. That would, films that are definitely fascinating, and maybe that opens things up more for like the older films, like with Keaton's films and others like that.
I think we're either going to have to put out some articles, or we're going to have to devote a segment each week for a while to like top 5 of certain genres.
Yep.
Well, yeah, I mean, you can always narrow it down further. If you're just trying to do an overall kind of, if not top 5, what we consider 5 great films kind of thing. So we're not doing the whole top 5 thing, because everybody's got their own rankings of top 5s.
Well, yeah, but I think we have to build a standard and then approach.
Oh, sure, you gotta have the line, otherwise you don't know what you're comparing it to.
Yes. Quick, before, because we're pushing the hour mark already, and I said I wanted to cut this one short tonight. More for the fact that my wife isn't feeling well, and it's probably be nice for her to be able to go to bed without me making noise. It has nothing to do with the hurricane at this point, because Wolfie, you sound fine, so I'm guessing the storms haven't even come close to you yet.
Yeah, I don't think we're supposed to get anything till late tonight or early tomorrow morning.
Okay. You mentioned something about Kevin Smith. What did I miss about Kevin Smith?
Oh, he's had a big project that he's been hinting at for months, and it's still not confirmed what it is, but the latest thing is that it's probably that it's a TV show, not a movie, but it's not his it's not his IP. So a lot of the rumors are, well, maybe it's something for the new DC streaming service or whatever. But he says whatever it is, it's the biggest thing he's ever worked on.
I know he dropped the Batman from his podcast. Used to be Fat Man on Batman. Now it's Fat Man Beyond.
Oh, is it? I haven't listened to Fat Man on Batman since like the first 25 episodes. It's not that I didn't. It's not that I didn't like it. It's just I had so many other things I was listening to at the time, and it kind of fell out of the rotation.
Yeah, he dropped the Batman from the title of the podcast. Now it's just Fat Man Beyond.
Did he drop it for any particular reason?
I didn't get into that far into the article.
I think it's because it expanded beyond the original aim of the podcast. And the original aim wasn't something that was like you could get a lot of episodes out of it, but it wasn't sustainable like past a point. So you kind of had to expand it some.
Oh, kind of like we went from the Shaven Wookiee to this. Because originally the Shaven Wookiee was all about the Old Republic, and it kind of just morphed into the Geek EZ. Oh, hey, wait a minute, we got Firefly's things.
Yeah, I'm just seeing them now.
All right, so reading it out for others here. Movies he'd recommend is great and really should watch in no particular order. Alien, Star Wars, Star Trek The Wrath of Khan, and original Ghostbusters, Hunt for Red October.
I never thought about the Ghostbusters.
No, I didn't think of it either, but that one's definitely would at least be a top 10.
Well, there's a lot of ones we haven't thought of, like Singing in the Rain. Some people consider a comedy.
Yeah,
Never watched it.
but
Again,
oh man, some of those old Gene Kelly movies are amazing.
Oh no doubt. I mean, man, I mean they were really good at their
that man could dance.
Fred Astaire and
Oh
Gene
my god,
Kelly.
we forgot about The Odd Couple.
What about Grumpy Old Men?
No, The Odd Couple is 10 times the movie The Grumpy Old Men was.
Yes, but Grumpy Old Men has the great lines like, "Why don't you do the world a favor and put your lip over your head and swallow?" That's a great line.
This is spaghetti. Whack. Now it's garbage.
Okay, before we head off for the evening, and we have been talking films and what makes great movies and all that, and a lot of the ones I think almost everyone we've mentioned was at least a contender for Best Picture, somewhere along the line of our top fives. Disney has thrown all its cards in when it came to the Academy Awards this year, putting Black Panther up for everything.
Really?
I'm sorry, Black Panther was a good movie. It is nowhere near Best Picture quality.
I think that's Disney trying to piss all over the popular movie Oscar that's coming.
Yeah, well, everybody should piss all over that.
A lot of people are pissed about that one.
That is a ridiculous idea.
Well, they've already delayed it so that it's not happening this year because there was such an outrage over it.
Because it's a ridiculous category.
You don't need it. I mean, a popular film, isn't what Best Picture's kind of about already?
No, Best Picture is supposed to be best film, and the Academy feels that a lot of times the best film that's seen by almost no one.
Which is true.
But it's also their way of being snooty and hoity-toity.
Yes, and the most popular movie is, well, whatever had the biggest box office, isn't that it?
Which can change within a few weeks or something.
Yeah, seriously, I mean, a butterfly could fart and it's going to change.
Oh, Firefly had an honorable mention, Dave, the American President. That was a good one. I don't great category,
Isn't
personally.
that two different movies?
Yes, The American President's a different movie.
Yeah, again, good. Definitely good. I don't know if I'd put them great myself, but yeah, we should actually work out at some point in time some criteria, and then we can post things on the Facebook page about it.
Now that we're closer, and I'm very much closer to getting us to actually where we can do our animated segments, that would be a perfect thing. We're close. We're really close. I won't tell. I haven't gotten to show you guys anything, but we're close.
Okay, you heard it here, folks. We could have a thing.
We could have a thing very soon.
And if you want us to have a thing faster, throw us money.
Yeah, you throw me money and it'll get done faster. But
not that ever works. No, I don't think anybody's ever sent money.
No, please. No one's ever sent. Heck, nobody's even sent us an email. It's been a long time since we got an email.
It's kind of sad.
It is sad.
I'm not sure we have much of an audience left, unfortunately, at this point.
That's what the animated stuff is for. So it gets things out there that people can watch in 10, 15 minutes, not have to sit through us drag on for 2 hours. Firefly is like our greatest fan ever.
Well, yeah, I think it's probably time to call it for tonight.
Mm-hmm.
Last calls.
Last call. I got nothing. I already said my last call.
Well, Wolfie, you got one?
No, not tonight.
I got one. The Dragon Ball Z Abridged episode 60 parts that they've done so far, because they did one 2 weeks ago. That was part 1. Part 2 was last Friday. Part 3 is this Friday, and oh my god, they have done such a fantastic job with their... I mean, if we were going to look at that as a crafting thing, their parody aspects of it is definitely top-notch. They've advanced so far from what they had started from. If you don't watch anime, okay, fine, that's not your thing, that's fine. But if you do, and you like Dragon Ball Z, you really should be watching Team 4 Star's Dragon Ball Z Abridged stuff, because their latest ones have been just amazing. So I am looking forward to this Friday's at 6 o'clock. It's gonna be fantastic. And no, we were not paid to do this because we just talked about the fact we didn't get money.
Yes. I do have a last call, real quick, and I'm just going to touch on it, and we can pick it back up next week from here when everybody's back around, as long as everybody weathers the storm down south fairly well. Sorry, I had to unkey my mic because I had to burp. Let's see. There was... Let me see where this was. There was let's see. The Disguiders, where were they? The Fan Expo in Canada. The Discovery designers fielded a question that was posed to them: how do you reconcile 1966 technology with 1966 aesthetics with 2018 technology?
Oh yeah, we were going to talk about that, weren't we?
Yes, we were. Production designer Tamara Deverell fielded the question, and I'm quoting her, saying, I think that we owe it to the fans to keep in time with technology that we have. So whereas we all love TOS and the cardboard sets they had, if we did that and offered that up to you all, I think you would be sadly disappointed in this day and age. And so in keeping with the rhythm of the times and the technology that we have with CAD, drafting, CNC printing, and 3D printing, we are expanding our universe, going where no one has gone before. Okay, art director Jody Clement noted how the show tried to use elements of the TOS era into their designs by saying, also, we have incorporated consoles. We do have lots of toggles and switches, which are mixed in with technology from 2018. So it's an ode to the original series. Illustrator Ryan Denning went on to say, I would also like to add that I tend to keep very closely to the movies as opposed to the 1960s series, especially The Undiscovered Country, which is as advanced as they could get. The Enterprise, really before the movies, is a bunch of cardboard sets. Not true, but let's see. So there has to come a point we can give you more advanced technology than you have in your living room, or I think you would get kind of bored. So that is fodder for next week, because it's not going over very well with the hardcore old school fans.
Yeah, but the hardcore old... I'm sorry. I'm waiting for next week.
We'll need to next week's video. I don't know. We'll see. We'll find out. I don't know. We have to wait till January to find out. So
hopefully that actually means it's going to be a full season instead of the split up bunk that they did last time.
I hope so.
I mean, if they're going to make you wait until start of the new year, give us the whole thing.
I think the only thing that's bothering me from what we've already seen, there's a shot of Burnham in the hallway of the USS Enterprise. It looks too big.
Oh, hey, they've apparently taken after Cryptic with their hallways and stuff.
Yeah, it looks huge. I'm like, there was always a submarine kind of feel to the Enterprise. I mean, the thing's only supposed to be, what, 400 meters long?
Yeah.
So
398-ish.
Again, we'll have to wait till January to finally actually, unless they give us some more tidbits as we get closer to the end of the year. But again, this is for next week, but I just wanted to throw that out there if you're listening and you're a Star Trek fan and you're not happy with Discovery, just more fodder for you to get pissed off at.
Because, that's what you're looking for in life, apparently.
I guess.
There's better things to do than be hating.
But we will be back next week. Alistair hopefully will be here with us. Again, he is further south than you, right, Wolfie?
Yeah, but he evacuated up to Dunn. So
Okay.
He's above me right now.
He was closer to the coast, right?
Yes.
He's like 5 minutes from the coast.
Okay, yeah, he definitely needs to evacuate. But again, I think I can speak for all of us when I say everybody down there keep safe and hope all goes well. Having been through a few hurricanes myself, I know they suck. And Florence would be a good time to turn around.
Rain, go away.
Oh, what was the really bad pun I saw? Somebody...
Pivot. Just pivot.
What was the pun? They said, "Oh, somebody asked with Florence coming in as a hurricane. We all know that hurricanes die down when they hit land and become sort of a gale. If she did that in the middle of the night, would she be Florence Nightingale?"
Should she be Florence Nightingale?
So bad.
It's so bad.
It was so bad. It was somebody was reaching so bad for that, but I had to share it.
Well, I think then I'll leave you with a dad joke.
Go ahead.
I have to shake my head even thinking about it. I don't trust elevators. They're always up to something.
Yeah, I'm not down with them either.
I love elevators. They're always lifting me up.
I'm taking steps to avoid them. See, we threw in like 3 right in that one.
Wow, that escalated quickly.
Right? Ding.
You better step up to my level, son.
Oh,
no. See, I can't really compete with you guys. You're both dads.
Oh, you floored me with that.
See,
don't push my button.
Again, I can't really compete when it comes to the puns because I'm not a dad.
Ah.
And with that, we've just driven the last of our audience away.
Yes, we have. See what you started?
Well, we got to end it on a high note.
Yeah, our show always
on an up note, anyway.
Yeah, our show always has ups and downs. Woof. All right, well, we'll be back next week.
We'll elevate your consciousness in no way, shape, or form.
Wow.
I know, I was kind of reaching for that one.
Quick shout out to Otis. That was really obscure.
Oh, right? Even Firefly's got one. Raise the stakes. Well played, Firefly. Well played.
Okay, we'll be back next week. Say goodnight, guys.
Later.
Bye.
Knew he was going to do that. And we got no ending, so